Neil, welcome back to Face. It's great to have you here. I have to promote you to a panelist. That hasn't happened yet. Okay, now here you go. Hello, Neil.
Hi, Dale. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you, buddy.
How's it going?
Good. Can you see me?
I can see you. It's good
Okay,
to
I'm
be
doing
back.
my Larry Fink
Oh,
imitation, and
okay.
Bitcoin will transcend every
Yes, I
international
think he said it would be
currency.
an. I think he said it would be an international asset too.
Yes, it will transcend any fiat international currency. And this
What
is
a
from
change
a
of tone.
guy who said it was a scam a few years ago, right? So I was thinking, God, you know what? I bet he heard Neil. And Neil and Neil converted Larry Fink. And do you think they're going to be a great ally with this ETF?
Um,
What are your thoughts, Neil?
it's funny. Everyone eventually comes to Bitcoin. There's a saying in the Bitcoin community: you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. And
Okay.
it looks like, I guess, Larry Fink and Blackrock are finally participating in that and getting it at the price they deserve. Um, I encourage people to buy Bitcoin, take it into
Yeah.
self-custody. This BlackRock ETF clearly is, you know, you're having custodians hold the Bitcoin if you were to participate in this investment vehicle. In terms of what it'll do for the price of Bitcoin, I mean, I don't know how it won't be bullish, just because they're going to have to buy Bitcoin for the ETF. It's going to
Right.
give a lot of investors who aren't concerned with custody but just want price exposure another vehicle. A lot of RIAs and investment advisors are able to now recommend uh, an ETF product where they couldn't just
Right.
recommend buying Bitcoin due to certain laws and uncertainty and regulations. So
So
I
it
think
increases awareness.
it increases awareness. I don't know if it's, you know, the point of Bitcoin is to disintermediate the
Yeah.
banks and to get rid of
Right.
third parties. So when you have things like this, I'm not sure in the short to medium term how things play out in terms of whether it's good for Bitcoin adoption.
Well, let me ask you this. Many of the futures markets were developed hundreds of years ago, not just to speculate on price, but to hedge. So
Right.
farmers would grow their corn and they wanted to lock in a price and they'd go out to the futures board and sell a commensurate amount. Um, could this, lead to people being able to, even if they do take their Bitcoin and hold it physically, that they could still have a way to hedge their holdings by
Yeah,
perhaps
there's
having
already
short position,
yeah,
hedge
there's
your
already
price.
yeah, sorry. There's already
Listen,
futures exchanges
okay,
that this already trades on the CME. So
okay,
I
good
don't
point.
know, it might help people short
All
Bitcoin.
right, so how is BlackRock going to rip off everybody?
Rip off. Well, they'll be taking a fee, right? On this ETF, a big juicy fee
Okay,
off a lot of Bitcoin when you could just buy it, custody it yourself, and pay no one a fee,
yeah.
indefinitely.
What do you think about these things? I've read that um, through repossession, the government, U.S. government's holding quite a big quantity of Bitcoin that they've clawed back from, people that weren't paying their taxes, etc., or were using them illegally, whatever, that they have a big stockpile that they'd like to sell.
I think it's
Have you heard about that? Huh?
yeah, they seize Bitcoin from people. Now they're not like hacking the Bitcoin network. They are seizing the private
Yeah,
keys. People either turn them over. Let's just make that clear. There's no way for them to uh, you know, guess someone's
yeah.
private keys. It has to be handed over to them, or someone needs to like leave them on a server digitally. Um, I think it's foolish to sell your Bitcoin. So, if the government wants to do that, I don't see it as a smart move when they seize the Bitcoin and then sell it for auction. I think it's better if less governments have the Bitcoin and people have it. So I guess net, it's good, but I don't think it's ever smart to sell your Bitcoin. Look, you see my
Yeah,
shirt here. It says
yeah.
"Don't care, never selling." Just never selling, no matter what the news is. Dale.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this. You think there'll be forced sales when the CBDC arrives on the scene?
Uh,
Can they make it illegal or difficult to keep your assets in Bitcoin when we have a digital currency here?
they can make it. A country could make anything illegal, whether it's constitutional or not is another
Right,
question. But let's
right.
just suspend that and say, we go into full on like dictatorship or fascism here. Yeah, they can make things
Well,
illegal, but anytime things are made illegal, people find a way to use what they want. The greatest technology will win out, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen this in other countries, right? We saw in Russia, they banned the use of US dollars like 30 years ago, or maybe longer. And people still use dollars and were looking for dollars because they didn't trust the
rubles.
ruble, right?
Yeah.
So, people will find a way. Governments can ban or make it illegal. They just won't be able to enforce it over the long run. But it would hurt adoption in the short term. I'm not, I'm against governments intervening and would like legislation to be passed that stops that in the best, that enables Bitcoin adoption. Because it's not good in the short term, but in the long term, I think the incentives and the game theory favors Bitcoin.
Do you believe that we're, a couple years away from a digital currency, central bank? It's really a takeover of the banking system and the treasury, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
our money did come from the treasury,
Yeah, I don't think
our
in the
currency.
US, I don't see it
Huh?
happening in the US anytime soon. I don't know if it'll ever happen in the US. I think you see other countries starting to experiment with this, and I think they're going to just be like the test cases, the lab rats for people around the world to watch. Unfortunately, it seems like Bitcoin has taken somewhat of a partisan view in the United States, where it's become a political football, where conservatives tend to
Yes.
um, be more pro Bitcoin, especially in like Congress. But that means you have powerful lobbying now on one side that's gonna try to prevent things like CBDCs, hopefully. And but like I said, long term, I think the incentives around Bitcoin will win out. I just don't want it to be 100 years from now. I'd rather it be in 10 years or sooner. So anything where we can help stop things like CBDCs and promote Bitcoin adoption, the better, I think.
Okay. Well, that's pretty optimistic that it's not going to happen here. And from your lips to whose ears.
Well, never say never. I just think it's going to be harder for it to happen here, and I think it's not something that I see like some in the next like 2 years, maybe 10 years from now.
Well,
I just unless there's some like catastrophe,
all
COVID
right,
like.
there you go. There you go.
And,
Like,
uh,
how about an engineered failure of the banking system so people lose confidence, like they
Yeah,
are
or
currently?
not even an engineered one, right? One where the banking system just kind of collapsed on its own. We've seen
Yeah.
a lot of
Well,
false flag
I
events.
tell you what, it's always engineered. The Fed is the engineer. He's
Right, but I
uh,
don't think they always know the consequences, let's say.
okay. They
Of their
make
actions.
mistakes. Choo
Yeah,
Choo Charlie was an engineer. Do you remember that one? You
I
don't.
don't.
You're so young, man. Really
I'm older than
pisses me
people
off.
think I look, but yeah, I'm too young for that one.
All right. So, anything else top of mind that you'd like to share since we last talked? What are you
No,
working
I
on?
guess since we last talked, obviously the Larry Fink news stands out.
Okay.
We're seeing it more talked about in presidential politics. Obviously,
Yeah.
um,
Do you like RFK Jr.?
I like certain things that he says and certain things,
Okay.
with any politician, I'm skeptical. And, what I do think that, we like to say, a lot of Bitcoiners like to say everything's good for Bitcoin, right? So if he's talking about it, it makes other candidates talk about it. And I know a lot of people don't see RFK Jr. necessarily as a serious candidate. But with the name Kennedy, you're serious enough and you're going to get enough attention. I saw the other day, Ron DeSantis came out against CBDCs and pro Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, that if he was, president, he's going to do everything he can to support
He's going to
people
make
having
it
the right.
the new reserve currency.
DeSantis?
He would. He
Or,
would. Yeah, DeSantis.
I don't know what DeSantis is going to do. I don't trust him. I don't trust anybody really that's running for politics.
How about you trust me, buddy?
If you were running for president, I would trust you.
You think you think I'm going to be nominated? I'll get a haircut.
I mean, look, after what we've seen with presidential candidates, anything's possible these days.
Yeah. Now I know you're not price sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that, but we've had this tremendous run in equities, and they used to say Bitcoin correlated to the NASDAQ, so we've kind of put that to rest, haven't we? Do you think though, if there's a liquidity event where stocks get hit and people have to raise cash because they have margin calls, do you think it's going to create some downward pressure on Bitcoin?
In terms of the US dollar price, absolutely, because Bitcoin is one of the most liquid assets in the world. It's a market that trades 24/7, 365. So when people get margin called, they're going to be forced to sell. But that'll be a great buying opportunity for people who understand what Bitcoin is.
Okay. And the best.
I always got an answer for you, don't I, Dale?
You have great answers, and because you're always talking about the advantage, no matter the economic scenario. It'd be nice. Most people in other asset classes can't relax like that with that degree of conviction. And
look, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. The Bitcoin I have in cold storage, as long as you're not, using it to borrow against it or playing games with it, it just stays there. So it doesn't. What's happening in the world around us is noise in the short term.
Okay. How about I was speaking to Mark Yusko a week ago. He's a pretty good ambassador for Bitcoin. He says, based upon what his analysis, that fair value of Bitcoin is about 56 grand. Do you think anyone can really compute what fair value is? So we're trading under fair value. We've traded above and beneath fair value, but that's what he thinks it is.
I'm curious to know how he calculates that. I don't know. Some people believe in, the efficient market hypothesis, where like whatever the price is at this moment is the right price. I definitely disagree with that in terms of Bitcoin. I'm not disagreeing with. I guess I'll be disagreeing with Mr. Yusko because, I think each Bitcoin should be worth millions and millions of dollars. But it doesn't, I guess, matter what I think in the short term. It matters what people on the margins thinks, where you get a buyer and a seller. So of course, I think it's undervalued. Do I think 56,000 is the right, price it should be at? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
Just compare it. Just say if you think this is something that's equivalent to gold, but better, right? Yeah. The price should be $500,000 of Bitcoin. Right. Someone like me thinks that it's gonna, grab store of value everywhere, not just from gold, but from real estate, stocks, collectibles. So that number goes exponential from there. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm patient. You have to be.
So what are you gonna do with the last month or so of your summer?
I don't even know what the year it is half the time. I'm just chugging along doing, I don't talk about this a lot publicly, but I am a CPA full time, but I also work in the Bitcoin space, not doing CPA things. So people ask me, But you know, I have a merchant apparel company I'm constantly working on. I run the company like top down. I'm involved in the marketing, the back end, the sales, the website. So that's where my focus is. It's a passion for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I
Well,
get to
that's why
bring.
you have the shirts and everything that,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so let me just explain this one. It says "Don't care, never selling," which kind of is pulled from a popular meme that's in the Bitcoin community now. It doesn't mean that new information comes into play and you shouldn't be open-minded. But for me, over the years, anytime people throw FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt at Bitcoin, it ends up being a nothing burger, or it just makes Bitcoin stronger in the end. So that's kind of what this shirt means to me. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that, I'm not saying I'm changing the world with an apparel company. Clearly, there's tons of people building on Bitcoin, making amazing advancements in terms of, the payment layer, insurance products for Bitcoin. But if, I can make people laugh and they could wear a shirt
Yeah.
and it starts a conversation,
I
I'm
think
doing
it's
my part.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great, man. And people always read other people's t-shirts.
Yeah, and they want to
I
know,
mean,
they
yeah,
want to know, what does that mean?
yeah. All right. Well, I understand what it means, Neil. So if you ever feel like the world doesn't understand you, give Coach a call. I have an ear for you anytime. And it's always fun hanging out with you for a little while.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been like a
Yeah,
quarterly thing we've been doing now. I don't know. Has it been a year? I think
yeah,
it's
I
been.
think so.
Yeah,
So
it's nice.
where's the best place for people to look at your merchandise and
So yeah,
follow you?
the website is FOMO21.com. FOMO, fear of missing out, and the number 21, not for the year 2021, but for 21 million Bitcoin. So
Oh,
FOMO21.com. And
nice.
on Twitter, Neil, Neil Jacobs on Twitter. That's where I shit post for a living.
Okay. Well, Neil, great talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your summer and talk to you in November.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if you have any questions, you're always free to reach out to me, Dale.
Yeah,
And if you
so I can bear witness to I had some questions on how to go about buying it, and definitely Neil was helpful to me.
yeah,
Gave me
and then
links and things to check out.
if any of your listeners have any questions, feel free to DM me. I don't always get back to people, but I try to at least read everything. But some people send me novels to read, and I just don't have time to respond. But if there are quick questions about Bitcoin, or if you have any questions about the merch or what I think about Dale's current, hairstyle, feel free, shoot me a DM, and
Well,
I'll
before I
answer
run for office, I'll get a haircut, buddy. I promise.
for
So,
sure.
then they could look for all my
So
skeletons.
what do you think about Bitcoin right now, Dale? Where's your head around it?
I
Or
want to buy a pullback at 20.
you think you'll get that, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
it's going to
watch.
come off with everything.
Oh,
Gravity is going to be, yeah. So I'm looking for kind of a liquidity event.
do you see that what do you think? What's the catalyst for that?
Um, Higher, the market's wrong-footed about rates. They're all expecting lower rates because of good inflation news, and rates aren't coming down. They're going up.
That
That's it.
seems,
And a
yeah,
strong dollar.
simple enough.
Yeah. So that's it.
That's why they pay you the big bucks and not me.
I'm telling you, man, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. So I trade and give it, distribute it to the universe.
You just give money back all the time.
I'm a market philanthropist, buddy. So
You're
anyway,
a market maker.
and you're a Bitcoin shaker, buddy. Really great
Yeah,
talking to you,
it's always a
Neil.
pleasure. I guess I'll see you in November. Time flies.
Yeah, yeah, it does, man.
It's
All right.
crazy.
Neil Jacobs, everyone, follow him at Neil Jacobs. And if you ever need some help on acquiring or where to go to do research, Neil will help you out. So thanks again,
Absolutely.
buddy.
Thanks for having me, Dale.
All
Bye.
right. Neil Jacobs, everybody, you could join the team in around 20 minutes on the morning edge. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Forex Analytics. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.